super excited about stenography. I really am. I can type 70 words a minute. These guys got to talk to people who can type 400. That's faster than I talk. So, tell us a little bit about the movie.
Well, the movie is about our great profession, court reporting. It's always under the radar. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's a profession that's been around for over 100 years, and we're still doing it today.
So how did you guys get into court reporting to begin with?
Well, actually, I followed him. My twin brother wanted to do it just because he was intrigued with the closed captioning. And I just didn't. I just went along for the ride. And after seeing the orientation, I thought, oh, wait, they make how much money? I want to do that.
So for people that don't know, how much money do court stenographers make?
And it varies all over the country. A lot
but
of
a ballpark, better than fast food.
Oh yeah, much better than fast food. You can make in cities like New York, you can make six figures. It just depends on where in the country. But
wow.
So what, Mark? What made you go, I want to direct this. This seems really cool.
I came 20 years ago. I worked in the TV film industry a little bit. Then my sister, who's a court reporter, said, why don't you come work with me in the court reporting industry? And so I've been in that for 20 years now. About 4 years ago, I was watching the State of the Union address with the president, and I noticed that sitting nearest to the president, it wasn't the vice president, it wasn't the Speaker of the House, it was actually the court stenographer. He right there taking down every word that came out of the president's mouth. And I thought, I've been in this industry so long, and I thought it was important, but I never realized how important and how much history it had. And I thought with my somewhat knowledge of the film industry, why don't I put those things together, make a movie out of this, and get it out there about this profession that exists, because most people don't even know it exists. So
yeah, if you see someone on TV doing it, it's usually just read back the last couple words sort of thing, but not everything else going on. And
there are a lot of TV shows and movies are using old technology. They have paper all over the floor. We've never had paper all over the floor, and most of us don't even use paper anymore. It's electronic. We're writing in real time, so for us that are in a courtroom, the judge or the attorneys can read back the words as it's being translated, which comes in handy when they're impeaching a witness, and they want to be able to instantly go back to that last question or an answer that happened 5 hours ago.
In the age of digital, are things changing in that regards? Are people possibly leading towards we're just going to record it and rewind and listen to that, or are they sticking with no, let's have someone type it down?
Well, there are certain proceedings, like in our courthouse, that they do record things that issues that maybe wouldn't be appealable. In our courtrooms, most everything gets transcribed because somebody at a higher level needs to read it, and everybody can listen at the same level. We can all listen to an 8-hour trial in 8 hours, but we're all going to we all read at different levels. So 300 pages you can maybe read in half the time that I can, and I'm going to read it in half the time that he can. And at the end of the day, the attorneys are dealing with words. The difference between guilty and not guilty is one word. So that has a huge impact, So if a recording missed that one word because I'm talking and you coughed just as I said that word not, it changes the whole meaning.
Yeah, and possibly somebody's life.
Yes.
So how did you get in touch with him as far as putting the film together?
So luckily I've been in the industry for a while, and through the advancements in Facebook and internet and just connecting. It's a small community. When I say small, 20, 30,000 people. So actually reaching out and touching these people online was really simple. And we see each other at conventions every year.
There are stenographer conventions.
There are stenographer conventions in every state.
Action, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Action act.
That's right.
Typing conventions.
They are, the low-key group, but when you get them all in a room, that's when they really, in the courtroom, they're quiet. Their job is to remain unnoticed, basically. So when you get them out in public among each other, it's all, it's done. They're very social. So yeah, getting in touch with them. We went to 6 different states, did interviews with different people. We flew to Florida to interview the brothers here in their courthouse, and it just fell into place. Over the period of 3 years, we filmed, little parts here and there, and it was surprisingly simple actually to get together.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that really fascinates me personally is being able to type that fast, because as I said earlier, I type 70 words a minute. I'm considered pretty darn speedy by writer standards. How the heck do you learn to type 400 words a minute?
Well, you have to be certified to write 225 words a minute. Then we have the superstars in our profession, that Mark Greenberg, and Dee Bano, who can write. I think Mark holds the record currently, but at our conventions, they have speed contests, and you just have to practice. Like with anything, practice makes perfect.
But we're writing words, syllables, phrases at a time. So if we know what the subject matter is going to be, let's say you're going to talk about, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. If I know you're going to say that, I'm going to come up with a short form to say it. It's more like playing the piano than it is maybe typing on a regular keyboard.
So it's not literal word-for-word typing. It's a whole lot of abbreviations that you kind of figure out later.
Right.
A common one is ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Every judge is going to say that, or attorney, or whoever's going to say that. So there might just be one stroke that covers all that.
Wow.
We're the original texters. People write LOL for laugh out loud. We were writing MEJ for members of the jury for the last 100 years.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
What with that much typing that quick, do you at the end of the day go, if I move these fingers for anything at all, I'm going to cut them off? I don't know how.
Sometimes we dream about it. The court reporters always have the same nightmare where they show up at a courtroom setting or a deposition without their machine. We've actually had the same dream, maybe because we're twins, where we'll say in our dreams, I'll just remember the hand movements on the desk, and when I get back to my machine, then I'll do the hand movements. One court reporter had a dream where he had rolls of toilet paper and he was writing with a pen on toilet paper. We all have nightmares that that's going to happen. So we do have that at the end of the day, all those, kind of terrifying thoughts that run in our heads, and our fingers just can't move anymore. But we keep coming back for more because ultimately it's a great profession to be in.
That's amusing, actually.
So are there any things that people just don't know about court reporters that you would really like the public to have an idea about?
Yeah, I would just say that, for instance, when you're watching television, this is a great example. When you're in a bar, when you're in a club, whatever, and there's TVs and you're watching the World Series or the Super Bowl, whatever the event is, and you see those captions, live on screen, people assume that's voice recognition or something that was recorded maybe earlier. That's a live stenographer doing that. They may be in their home office or even in their bedroom or wherever, but there's somewhere in the U.S. that somebody is sitting there watching the feed, and they're actually writing it on their machine, and it's going out there live to people.
Wow.
I mean, you don't think that when you see now you will think that when you see it. You'll know that. But it's important. It's such an important thing to put out there for the hearing impaired community, just for public knowledge. It's just important that it's out there. So that's something that I think is kind of fun.
I did honestly assume that it was mostly some sort of voice recognition software and not an actual human being watching along with me.
Yeah, I mean, voice recognition software is great and all, but it cannot do what these people do. It's just not there. 20 years, 30 years from now, we'll see. Technology is advancing all the time. We'd be silly to deny that it does progress. But for the jobs we need done now and for a foreseeable future, these are the guys.
So are there any other projects that you're working on, any other documentaries you're making or anything along those lines?
This is my first, and I'm not going to say it's my last. I think it'll be my last documentary, maybe. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I think I had kind of a purpose for this, to do this particular thing. It was in me. It was the merging of things. And so, who knows, 20 years from now, maybe something else will come up. We'll see. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for being here on Fanboy TV. If you are seeing this live, then stay tuned. We're going to have a couple of previews. And if you're watching it on the internet, check out the rest of our videos. We have 24 interviews today, and you should watch them all because most of them are as awesome as this.